Hello and buenas tardes, good afternoon. Welcome back to another reading from the Handbook of Research on Teachers of Color and Indigenous Teachers. Continuing with Chapter 9, titled, quote, A Place Where People Care, unquote. Revisited a retrospective and vision on recruiting and retaining teachers of color. Jennifer J. Robinson, Carolina E. Gonzalez, Montclair State University. We continue with page 109 from the handbook. And next, discussion. Pause. I invite you to kick back, relax. Thank you for being. Thank you for being here. And this is discussion. Resume. We dedicate the following section to a discussion of our findings. Drawing on the theoretical framework, the findings from this study underscore the complexity of matching mission with implication, validation, and organizational development. All of the participants in this study affirmed their choice of the program, relating the positive aspect and how they believed they were learning what they needed in order to become just-minded teachers. The findings also revealed how an academic program's mission and commitment to social justice are a proxy for validation and affirmation for students of color's sense of belonging and connection to their future careers as teachers. We also learned, however, that having a mission and commitment to social justice is not enough. A commitment to diversity and inclusion must be evident in the following ways. Classrooms where the faculty leverage the personal histories of students and provide opportunities for voices of marginalized populations to be heard, and faculty and staff who, regardless of ethno-racial identity, also critically complement and rewind. Culturally competent and committed. Again. Regardless of ethno-racial identity, are culturally competent and committed to caring. Continuing to page 110. And advocating for students of color. Again. From page 109 to 110. A commitment to diversity and inclusion must be evident in the following ways. Classrooms where the faculty leverage the personal histories of students and provide opportunities for voices of marginalized populations to be heard, and faculty and staff who, regardless of ethno-racial identity, are culturally competent and committed to caring and advocating for students of color. The institution must also ensure safe spaces, time, and opportunities for students of color to connect and form their own communities. There must be a diverse representation of faculty and staff of color whom students of color can relate, especially when there is a need for social and emotional validation. When one or more of these forms of care and validation are absent, students are in jeopardy of not persisting in their pursuit of higher learning. Evidence of the disconnect and academic jeopardy are cited in the research, which finds that students of color experience high levels of alienation and low levels of integration in predominantly white academic circles, which often are riddled with microaggressions, as cited from Pulliam and Gonzalez in 2018. For underrepresented populations, these feelings may be compounded and led to imposters. Rewind. These feelings may be compounded and lead to imposter syndrome, whereby students experience extreme incapacitating feelings of self doubt and fear. These feelings, although not linked to mental health issues, predispose of color to depression, anxiety, fear, and stress, as cited from McGregor and more in 2008. Rewind. These feelings, although not linked to mental health issues, predispose students of color to depression, anxiety, fear, and stress, as cited from McGregor and more in 2008. 3 of the 4 participants expressed doubt in their ability to succeed in the program. Teresa shared her initial reluctance to apply for the dual degree program. When I found out about the dual degree program, I was like, I can't apply. I need 3.25, and I graduated high school with a 2.7 or a 2.9. So in my head, I was like, I can't get a 3.25. Then I started talking, rewind. Then I started taking my classes, and I was like, especially my education classes, that I was doing well. Like, because it was something that I enjoyed. So I was doing well and I was performing well. And I was making sure I had time to meet with my professors and find out what they wanted from me and what they expected from me. And then I kept doing well. And I was like, oh, my GPA is not terrible. I can actually do this. Celia related the need for mental health support. The mental health piece is important. You know, taking time to meditate, go to yoga, and have a therapist. I'm like, wow, this would have been great if I had done this in undergrad, you know? Like, I would have been kind of a whole different person. And so, like, I think that's an important piece. So, how do we demystify therapy in a way so that it's not so kind of, because therapy in my community, like in most Black and Latino communities, it's just like we don't go to therapy. Essentially, there must be a pedagogical relationship, as described by Van Manen in 2016, that is defined by the foundational, rewind, fundamental, again, Essentially, there must be a pedagogical relationship, as described by Van Manen in 2016, that is defined by fundamental conditions of love, care, hope, trust, and responsibility. While he focused on the relationship between a school teacher and his school aged children, his argument applies in this context, as pedagogy must be relational, and he defined by the care that the education and staff place in their relationship with students. As someone who has worked in higher education, Celia shared keen insight into the conflict between being a profit making institution and at the same time attending to care, especially when, quote, care, unquote, is not the primary mission of the institution. I remember going to the bursar, having to beg them to let me register, and stuff like that. Oh my. Oh my god. The stress of like the financial piece, right? Colleges are businesses. They're public, but they're not free. So they're all buying rewind. So we're all buying a product, right? And we're consumers. Maybe maybe we need some lessons from the customer service industry. How do we make the spaces welcoming, especially for students who may not have had experiences in colleges, or parents who didn't go to college, where college is just kind of like that thing over there? Make them welcome space. Rewind. Making them welcoming spaces. Again, making them welcoming spaces that are like, I care about you this semester, but I also care that you're doing, rewind, that you're going to eventually graduate, right? How do they make sure it's thinking about the students and not just a semester, but for 5 years or the 4 years that they're here? Our participants spoke of the strategies they use to stay engaged and connected to the teacher education program and to their own goals of completing the program. To multiply the effects of one person's strategies, there is a need for mentors who can share tricks of the trade with their less experienced peers. Peer mentors. Students of color who are already enrolled in the teacher education program and who have a deep commitment to and interest in teaching, who value inclusion, equity, and social justice, and who demonstrate leadership qualities, can lead the way, as Teresa did in her newly formed student organization. Peer mentors can serve as role models and assist with recruitment activities by affirming their decision to enter teaching profession. Rewind. To enter the teaching profession. Again, peer mentors can serve as role models and assist with recruitment activities by performing by affirming their decision to enter the teaching profession. The strategies for success that participants share can be the topic of discussion when mentors introduce their mentees to student services across campus, such as advisors and other resources for students' career planning, personal development, leadership skills development, and overall well being. Overall, a quote, chief warrior, unquote, who sustains these practices is essential in the organization. Rewind. If the organization is to successfully continue the process of multi layered mentoring. Again, one more time. Overall, a quote, chief warrior, unquote, who sustains these practices is essential in the organization. If the organization is to successfully continue the process of multi layered mentoring. Okay, pause. Thank you. This was from the Handbook of Research of Teachers. From the Handbook of Research on Teachers of Color and Indigenous Teachers, Chapter 9, to which is titled A Place Where People Care. Again, quote, a place where people care, unquote. Revisited a retrospective and vision on recruiting and retaining teachers of color by Jennifer J. Robinson, Carolina E. Gonzalez, Montclair State University. Discussion from page 109 to 110, to which next we can look forward to continuing with implications for the future. Thank you. Until next time.